The United States is sending a second aircraft carrier to the Middle East.
Sending another one, the USS Gerald R. That's the largest aircraft carrier in the U.S. fleet.
The sound of distant explosions and the roar of jet engines have become part of daily life across parts of the Middle East. But behind those sounds lies a military buildup that few people around the world fully understand. In the waters surrounding Iran, the United States is assembling one of the largest concentrations of naval air power seen in decades. Warships are moving into position. Aircraft are launching in waves. And with the arrival of a third American supercarrier, the balance of pressure in this conflict may be shifting even further. At the center of this moment is the deployment of the aircraft carrier USS George H.W. Bush. The massive warship is now heading toward the Mediterranean Sea, where it will join two other American carriers already operating in the region. Those ships are the USS Abraham Lincoln and the USS Gerald R. Ford. Together, these vessels form a powerful triangle of naval strength surrounding Iran, creating a level of sustained air power rarely seen outside of major wars. Aircraft carriers are not just ships. They are floating military bases capable of projecting power thousands of miles from home. Each one carries dozens of aircraft, advanced radar systems, missile defenses, and thousands of sailors and aviators. When several of these carriers operate together, they can maintain continuous air operations around the clock. That ability is now becoming central to the United States' strategy in the region. The arrival of the USS George H.W. Bush comes after weeks of escalating tension and military operations. According to statements from the administration of Donald Trump, the current president of the United States, American forces have already carried out extensive strikes against Iranian military targets. The campaign has focused on missile launch facilities, command centers, and military infrastructure believed to be involved in attacks across the region. While many details remain classified, American officials say the early phase of the operation significantly weakened parts of Iran's military capability. Air defenses, missile systems, and naval assets were among the first targets. The goal, according to military planners, was to reduce Iran's ability to respond while allowing American aircraft to operate more freely over key areas. This strategy depends heavily on air power, and air power in this case depends on carriers. Each of the carriers now operating near Iran carries an entire air wing. On the USS Abraham Lincoln, stealth aircraft such as the F-35 provide the ability to penetrate defended airspace and strike targets that are difficult to detect. These jets are designed to evade radar and destroy sophisticated defense systems. Meanwhile, the USS George H.W. Bush brings a different set of capabilities. As a Nimitz-class supercarrier, it can host dozens of aircraft, including F/A-18 fighter jets, electronic warfare planes, and airborne early warning aircraft. These aircraft work together as a coordinated system, detecting threats, jamming enemy radar, and launching precision strikes when necessary. Before its deployment, the carrier strike group surrounding the USS George H.W. Bush completed an intensive training exercise known as Composite Unit Training. This program prepares every part of the strike group for combat operations. Pilots practiced hundreds of flight operations while the ship's crew rehearsed defensive maneuvers and rapid aircraft recovery procedures. Now that training is complete, the carrier is moving into position. At the same time, the USS Gerald R. Ford has taken up a strategic location in the Red Sea after passing through the Suez Canal. From there, it can monitor activity connected to armed groups operating in Yemen, including the Houthi movement. Military officials say this positioning allows the carrier to respond quickly if additional regional actors attempt to join the conflict. The USS Abraham Lincoln continues to operate closer to Iran, launching aircraft that patrol and strike selected targets. These operations are part of a broader effort to weaken Iran's remaining military infrastructure. But despite the heavy strikes already carried out, Iran still possesses one powerful form of leverage. That leverage is geography. Just off Iran's southern coast lies the narrow waterway known as the Strait of Hormuz. This stretch of water is one of the most important energy routes on Earth. A large portion of the world's oil and natural gas shipments travel through this passage every day. At its narrowest points, the strait is only about 50 kilometers wide, making it a natural choke point for global shipping. Any disruption in this area can quickly affect international energy markets and global trade. Iran has long understood the strategic value of this location. Even if its larger naval vessels are damaged or destroyed, the country still maintains fleets of small fast boats and drones capable of operating in the area. These vessels can harass commercial ships or attempt attacks on tankers passing through the strait. The economic impact of such disruptions could be enormous. Millions of barrels of oil move through the waterway every day, and any prolonged interruption could send energy prices sharply higher across global markets. This is where the arrival of the USS George H.W. Bush may become especially important. Military analysts believe the carrier could help protect commercial shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. Carrier-based aircraft can monitor the waterway, quickly identify approaching threats, and respond to drone or boat attacks before they reach civilian vessels. With 3 carriers now operating in the wider region, the United States can divide responsibilities between them. 2 carriers can focus on air operations and strikes related to the conflict itself, while another helps secure vital shipping lanes. This approach also allows American forces to maintain continuous pressure. Aircraft carriers require maintenance cycles, and pilots cannot fly missions endlessly without rest. By rotating operations among several carriers, commanders can keep aircraft flying without exhausting crews or equipment. According to estimates from military observers, thousands of targets have already been struck since the campaign began. These include missile launch facilities, military warehouses, radar stations, and command centers. Destroying such systems reduces an opponent's ability to coordinate attacks or defend its territory. Another factor shaping the conflict is control of the skies. Reports from regional military sources suggest that many of Iran's long-range air defense systems have already been damaged or destroyed. Without those systems, aircraft flying at high altitude face far fewer threats. That advantage explains why the arrival of the USS George H.W. Bush is being closely watched. With another full air wing entering the theater, the United States increases the number of aircraft available for missions. Supported by electronic warfare aircraft and airborne radar platforms, these fighters can deliver precision strikes while maintaining awareness of potential threats. Beyond the military dimension, the conflict is also shaping political dynamics inside Iran. Reports from regional media suggest growing internal tension within the country's leadership. Changes in senior leadership positions have added uncertainty about how Iran's government will respond to continued military pressure. Meanwhile, the administration of Donald Trump has made clear that its objective is to force major changes in Iran's strategic behavior. The president has repeatedly stated that the United States will maintain military pressure until those changes occur. For now, the deployment of the USS George H.W. Bush signals that Washington is preparing for a campaign that may last longer than the first days of fighting suggested. Aircraft carriers provide flexibility. They can move quickly, reposition in response to new threats, and launch aircraft without relying on land bases that may be vulnerable to missile attacks. In effect, they serve as mobile platforms that extend the reach of American air power across the region. With 3 such carriers now operating nearby, the United States has created a powerful network of floating airfields capable of sustaining continuous operations. What happens next remains uncertain. Conflicts of this scale rarely follow predictable timelines. Political negotiations, regional reactions, and internal developments inside Iran could all influence the direction of events in the weeks ahead. But one thing is clear. The arrival of the USS George H.W. Bush marks a new stage in the crisis. It represents not just another warship entering the region, but the expansion of a military posture designed to maintain constant pressure both in the skies and at sea. For the ships sailing through the Strait of Hormuz, and for the governments watching closely around the world, the presence of 3 American supercarriers is a powerful reminder of how rapidly regional tensions can transform into a global strategic moment. And now the question remains: what happens if this pressure continues to increase? Will Iran choose to escalate further, or will diplomacy eventually find a way to stop the conflict before it spreads even wider? If you found this analysis valuable, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive into global conflicts and geopolitical developments. And now, we want to hear from you. Do you think the deployment of 3 U.S. carriers will force Iran to change its strategy? Or could this situation lead to an even larger regional war? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.